Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Dr. Robinson. Listen, man, first of all, let me thank each and every one of you for purchasing the book. I'm so glad that you guys not only purchased the book, but you're lending your mind to the study, this class. I think it's going to be a great tool and a great resource. Listen, I know we're all busy. It's right around the holiday time, so I'm not going to keep you very long. I'm just going to come and do these and give some quick points. I need your feedback. You guys let me know how much you want. We're going to try a live kind of Q&A over Zoom on Sunday. But again, I don't want to get on if you guys are too busy to get on. I can just continue to do the pre-recorded stuff. I want you guys to let me know. Just give me feedback throughout this video. I'm going to throw some questions out there. I want you guys to write questions in the comments. And then when we get together live on Sunday, I'll be able to answer any of those questions. Let us kind of dialogue and discuss together. First and foremost, man, how you guys liking the book? Hopefully you got in. The first assignment was to read through the preface through chapter 1. So what I'm going to do is just kind of go over some highlights that real quick. Hopefully raise some things that maybe you didn't consider. And then we'll kind of get together again later and discuss as we continue to read. We want to read through it quick. It's not a long read. It gets a little complicated when you get to chapters 3, chapters 4. The first 2 chapters are pretty kind of straightforward, but we kind of dig into some real thought-provoking things in the end of the book. So again, we're just gonna kind of go through together. I mean, I'm so excited. Can you guys tell? This is my life, man. I'm a Christian. I love God. I love God's people with all my heart. But I'm black. I'm pro-black. I love our people. And I love doing anything to advance us and help us get better. So listen, you didn't come to hear all that, man. Let's jump right into the book. So if you've read the preface of the book, I immediately start talking about the analogy that I use throughout the book, and that's the story of the Lion King. I think that the story is incredible. The nuances of the story of the Lion King. If you don't like the Lion King, man, you got problems. I could go on and on for days about some of the symbolism and the metaphors that we can talk about, how it demonstrates the plight of African American people. So here's one thing: as you first read the book, some of the first things in the bold print, I want to throw that out there right now. So we talk about the main character, Simba, and the way he has these struggles in the book, dealing with his destiny and his history. That's so important. So it plays out in the character. You see me talk about this first off in the book. First, geographically, right? Where he starts off, where he ends up. Right? That's important. That's major. He's in the Pride Land. He ends up in the wilderness. He goes back to the Pride Land, right? It's so important geographically as we look at us and where we are, that initially our people were on the continent of Africa, that we've been displaced and now are in America. And if not physically do we relocate back to Africa, at least mentally we got to have some type of connection, right? So first it was geographically. The next thing that you see is relationally. You see Simba in the way he meets people, right? When he's in the wilderness, what are the influences in his life? The people who are speaking into his ear, who is telling him about himself, and what is he believing about himself? The relationships that we have is so important. Us as African Americans, man, who are we surrounding ourselves with? Who are we listening to? What influences are speaking into our life, telling us about ourselves? What are we believing about ourselves? So geographically, relationally, and last you see emotionally. Now Simba is plagued, man. He's being haunted by this conflict, this tug of war between his destiny and his history. He's running from his history. He's being pulled towards his destiny. But what we'll learn is that he can never get to his destiny if he doesn't first revisit his history. Listen to me. That's how we are. We all have this internal struggle because we know who we see ourselves as. We know even who God calls us to be. But there's so much speaking to us that has presented African Americans as being less than we were created to be. So there's this emotional struggle within ourselves. What can we accomplish? What can we become? history would have you believe that we're just the descendants of slaves, and that's where our history starts from, as slaves. But we're much more than that. But this emotional conflict on the inside of all of us is something that we need to get a hold of and understand where it comes from and what is leading us towards. So this whole struggle that Simba goes through is just like the struggle that I feel African Americans have to go through. So stay with me, man. We want to talk about this stuff. So again, I believe it's true that Simba will never reach his destiny if he doesn't first revisit his history. As Black people in America, I think that for us to live, get to reach the pinnacle of our existence, the life that God designed us to live, we cannot reach what that divine destiny is without revisiting our history. It is critical, it's tantamount that we understand where we come from, the legacy, our heritage, right? The lineage, our heritage is so important for you to be able to get to the next place that God is taking you, for you to get a glimpse of where you come from. How do you know where you're going if you don't know where you come from? Okay, now that quick recap is out of the way, let's jump right into this. The first thing that we discuss is the idea of Black conscious Christianity. Listen, this is a brainchild of mine. I can't say it's original, just from everything I've read, it all kind of crammed together in my mind. And I think this concept of Black conscious Christianity, I think is a very important thing for us to grasp. So first, if we look at the idea of Black consciousness, right, we understand that Black consciousness is simply a movement that suggests that the Black mind has been assaulted, right? The racial trauma that we've been through in this country, how could it not affect us? Knowing that our people were slaves, going through the Jim Crow era, the struggle for civil rights, how could that not affect us? Our minds, our self-esteem, our self-awareness, it has been impacted. So Black consciousness is the awakening of our minds, the Black mind, to the understanding of our value, our worth, our connection to Africa, and the many contributions that our people have made across the world. Black consciousness, right? And you connect that with Christianity. I'm a Christian. If you're on this, probably you're a Christian as well. So we love God. We believe in Jesus, man. But there are a lot of things about our faith that have never been addressed. And that as people are becoming more intellectual, they got questions, right? And they're questions that I think we should be able to answer. Because as you've read in the book already, there's been tension between the Black conscious community and the Christian community, right? There's in my opinion, an understandable tension. But these concepts shouldn't be opposed or in conflict to one another. They should be in tandem to each other, because I want us to be woke when we embrace Christianity. I want you to know that there's a component of faith that is connected to the continent of Africa, to your people. We Black people play a major part in the story of Christianity. Black consciousness is just Black people being aware, understanding their value, their worth, their connection to Africa, and their many contributions in the world, right? So here's the first assignment. This is what I need you to do. I want you to look at a couple of different things. Try to get as many contributions that Black people have made to society. Start first with your state, wherever you're watching from. Just try to gather as much information you can about Black people who've impacted the state you live in. Then do the same thing for our nation. And then globally, I want you to try to find as many things as you can about people of African descent that have made major contributions to the world. Now, the fact that these things are not readily available is a problem, right? Disconnecting you from an understanding of the contributions that your people have made, right? That's a form of oppression, of mental oppression. So guys, I want you to find this stuff. I want you to research it. That's the first thing I want you to do, right? Look for the contributions that we've made locally, nationwide, globally. I think you'll be presently surprised to see how much we've done as a people. Now, when you see that, when you see the disconnect between what is taught and what the actual history is, you'll understand that that same thing has happened within Christianity. If you begin to look through the history of Christianity, you'll find that there are many contributions that are made by people of African descent, right? But watch this. You won't know that if you're not willing to do the research yourself. Well, guess what? I did a lot of the research for you, but hopefully it just whets your appetite, man, to get you digging in to find as much as you can about the story of Christianity and the contributions made by Black people. So to finish up about the preface, whatever you call it, we see, I use the terminology Afrocentricity, right? I just want to break that down. Afrocentricity comes from a scholar by the name of Dr. Molefi Asante, right? He says Afrocentricity is Black people being able to look at world history and see themselves as subjects and not simply as objects, right? Because history as it is told from a Eurocentric perspective, Black people are really just objects, a means to an end. But truly, if you can look at history objectively, you'll see that Black people are not just objects, they're subjects. We're subjects of many things in history, meaning that we play a major part in many things that have taken place all throughout history, right? So, okay, let's get into chapter 1. So as we engage chapter 1, again, try to start off with the analogy using the Lion King. Things that we see, Simba leaves the Pride Land, right? He leaves his homeland and he goes into the wilderness. When in the wilderness, he's confronted with this problem-free philosophy, Hakuna Matata, right? Y'all know it. It really teaches him to forget about his past, move forward to the future, forget about his past. And that works for him as he's living in the wilderness, right? For survival, he's able to adopt this problem-free philosophy. If he's going to continue to live in the wilderness, continue to live displaced in the wilderness, that works for him. But what we discover is that for him to get to his destiny, he can't continue to erase his history. He has to know what he's done, because here's the picture. Simba is living in the wilderness, a place that he doesn't belong. And in order to fit in, he has to change himself. He can't eat what he normally eats. He can't roar like he normally roars. He has to change himself to fit in, right? The more and more he acts like the lion he is, the more fearful others will be of him. So in order to try to belong in a place that he doesn't really belong, for survival, he does particular things. Here's what I want you to see. That's us in America. Black people, our culture has been tainted and changed. We have to shrink. We have to try to fit in to a place that we really don't belong, right? And here's the thing. Simba, if he had remained in the wilderness, Simba started eating bugs and plants. He's a lion. He hunts, but he changed himself. And if he had stayed there, if Simba would have had kids, his kids would have grew up thinking that that was the way lions are, right? And if their kids had kids and their kids had kids, the further they were displaced from their actual heritage, they would have become more like the survival mechanism in the wilderness. Ding, 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 ding. Do we get that? In America, many of our cultural ways, many of the things that we embrace have to be changed and altered. We've adopted things for survival in this country that are not beneficial for our people, but because it's what allows us to belong, those who survived slavery, they had kids, their kids have had kids, and their kids have had kids. And there are many ways that we function within this society that is not the best for our people as a collective, right? We're suffering from the Simba syndrome. I wish y'all would be with me. Understand what I'm saying? The Simba syndrome. We're very much like Simba in the wilderness. Listen, man, you guys think through this. Ask some questions, give some dialogue. I hope you guys just don't listen to me, but you show me your heart and what you're getting out of the book. Okay, let's continue. So again, here in this next section, I try to be transparent as a pastor, right? A young pastor, kind of cool, kind of hip, probably show that I ain't as cool as I think I am, but I'm approachable. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm approachable. So a lot of people come to me with questions, and you don't know how many times I've heard from young Black brothers, man, that Christianity is a white man's religion. That y'all in that church, y'all got them white Jesuses with the blonde hair and the blue eyes on the wall. You worshiping a guy that looks like your oppressor, right? I've heard all that stuff. And the thing is that these people, again, the more conscious you become, the more questions you have, right? There's a clip of Muhammad Ali asking questions. I might actually insert that clip.
Mother, how come is everything white? I said, why is Jesus white with blonde and blue eyes? Why is the Lord's Supper all white men? Angels are white, Pope and Mary and even the angels. I said, Mother, when we die, do we go to heaven? She said, naturally we go to heaven. I said, well, what happened to all the black angels when they took the pictures? And the angel food cake was the white cake, and the devil food cake was the chocolate cake. I always wondered, you know, and the president lived in the White House. And Mary had a little lamb, his feet as white as snow, and Snow White. And everything was white. Santa Claus was white. And everything bad was black. The little ugly duckling was the black duck, and the black cat was the bad luck. And if I threaten you, I'm going to blackmail you. I said, Mama, why don't they call it white mail? They lied too. I was always curious, and then this is when I knew something was wrong.
Yeah, he say, why everything white? Everything good white, everything bad is black, right? That's what we see. Even when it relates to Christianity, the angels are white, Jesus is white, heaven is beautifully white, and everything is white, right? We see that stuff, and the more conscious we get, we begin to ask questions, and I love it, right? But what I'm pushing is that as believers, we ought to be able to engage those questions. You can't just tell people, oh, Christianity ain't black, it ain't white man's religion. You can't just say that. You need to be able to engage it. And by the time we're done, you guys are going to be able to engage that question, and I hope save some of our young people from being led astray from the faith. So again, a quote is that whoever has the pen controls the narrative, right? Lions will always be the villains if hunters are the one telling the story. So that's the same way I feel about Christianity, right? People need to hear the story of Christianity told from the perspective of the lions and not the hunter. So that's what I think we can do in this idea of Black conscious Christianity. We can tell the story of Christianity from the perspective of people of African descent. This in no way tries to present Black people as being superior, but what it does do is guarantee we are not inferior. Okay, guys, that was really quick. I want to get in much more detail. I'm scheduled. You have the schedule of when we're going to do these things. But every time I get a thought or an opportunity, I'll probably jump down here and record something and throw it out there just for us to be able to chew and maybe dialogue on it a little bit. I hope you guys get on live on Sunday. I think that we can have a good discussion, man. But if everybody's too busy, I understand. I'll keep doing the pre-recorded stuff. If that's better for you guys, I'll try to keep them short. I'll point it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Boom, let's get out of here. All right, again, man, I thank you guys for tuning in and watching us. I thank you for buying the book. It is really a labor of love, and I hope that it impacts you and you get a lot out of it. I'm praying for you. If anybody has any prayer requests, man, feel free to inbox me. I would love to pray for you. Any questions you have that you've been struggling with about your faith, I would love to answer those the best I can. Listen, I love you, and I can't wait to talk to y'all again. Peace.